So it seems to be that on every forum that is so moderated and, oh, it's their forum, they can do what they want, seems to have a strong level of anti-Semitism. I'm going to link to several David Icke forum posts that all relate to attacking Jews, blaming Jews for everything, or in some other way have negative connotations toward Jews. But meanwhile, Jim Prophet is a troublemaker, a troll, a spiritually weak person of the negative black rainbow, or whatever the fuck David Icke says. You know, it's ridiculous. This all descends from an old and tired mentality called monarchy. Monarchies used to attack a certain race or ethnic group to keep their tribe together. When a nation was on the brink of collapse and chaos, they used to blame somebody. They used to have a scapegoat, whether it was the religious heretics, whether it was a certain other tribe neighboring them, whether it was a certain race of people, or the handicapped, or the poor, or something that they can label, something that can encompass a large group of people, but not so large that it would affect them personally. That is why they attack the Jewish people. It has nothing to do with the fact that people in charge tend to be Jewish. It's the fact that they're an easy target because there's a lot of them, but not so many that it could collapse the monarch societies. That's why there's anti-Semitism. It is true that there is a lot of rich Jewish people. The Rothschilds are Jewish. Pretty much anyone that owns the banks are Jewish. Freddie Madoff, Bernie May, I might have gotten those two reversed. But my point is that, yes, there are Jewish people in control, just as there's white people in control, just as there's Arab people in control. The Saudi Arabian oil monopoly, the Chinese own basically all production, you know. The rich own shit, yes, and there's lots of rich people. And they don't care about ethnic groups. They want you to care about ethnic groups. Because they want you to blame a certain tribe of people rather than the capital owners. We are not up against the Jews, the whites, the Asians, the blacks, the religious heretics, whatever. We are up against the capital owners. That is our fight. We, as the poor, have to band together and find solace in our fellow man, whether he be Jewish or a heretic or a black or a white or whatever. And we have to find companionship with them to fight against these capital owners who use their ownership to tell you what to do, to make you work to death. We have to stand with all of them, because none of them are personally to blame. Only the capital owners are to blame. I don't blame Jewish people for banning me. I blame David Icke for banning me. I blame Steve for banning me. I blame Moot for banning me. I blame Richard the Rapist Bueller for banning me. And only about 2 of those people are Jewish at all, if even that, because I'm not completely sure of Moot or Steve's ethnicity. A lot of the other members just go off on this tangent. So, you know, this isn't a ethnic thing. This is a capital thing. This is the idea that capital owners have the entitlement to treat other people like shit, and they do not. That is the fight of communism and socialism. That is the war we must wage against the people. These people, the capital owner people. You know, they are the individuals. They are not a collective. They have their own interest at heart. They have their own selfish ambitions. They do not see themselves as part of a tribe of any sort. They don't see themselves as a race or a religion or any other grouping. They only see themselves for what they want, what they believe, and how they can exploit you and your tribes to go to war with each other while they sit aside and collect their dollars and count their their money and basically exploit everything. They exploit the labor, they exploit the bloodshed, they exploit the wars, they exploit the hatred, the racism, and David Icke is part of all that, because if he wasn't, why the fuck is he allowing neo-Nazis to run rampant on his forum, but meanwhile Jim Prophet was not allowed on his forum? There is something severely wrong there. What am I preaching that is so hate-mongering and so wrong that I can't be there, but yet someone saying to exterminate the Jews can be? There is some serious shit going down, and it's all based on the capital owners. Now, you can believe what you want. You can believe that primarily it's the Jews, or primarily it's this or that. I don't care. But you're wrong. You're wrong if you think that this is a Jewish problem. You're wrong if you think this is a white people problem. You're wrong if you believe this is a Chinese or Arab problem. It isn't any of their problems. It is the problem of capital owners. And they all have their own capital owners. Some might have more than others. I'm not going to deny that. But they don't care about it, and neither should you. They don't care about their ethnic identities. That's all it is an identity. It is something that you have bestowed upon yourself. It is a social construct. You don't have a race. You don't have an ethnic group. You don't have a gender. What you have is rights. What you have is underprivileged communities. What you have is being worked to death for nothing at all. What you have is being exploited by other people for your mind, for your body, and for your labor. That's what you have. You don't have anything of the sort where you belong to a tribe and somehow that defines you. We are not fucking Pokemon. Pokemon have tribes. Pokemon have elemental types that have weaknesses and resistances and use that against each other. We are human beings. A black person does not have an elemental advantage against an Asian person. It's not a Charizard versus a Bulbasaur. It's fucking people. Some people are smarter than others. Some people are more athletic than others. Some people come from better backgrounds. But we are just people. We are people that are being misused, mistreated, and misrepresented because capital owners want it that way. And whether they be the petty bourgeoisie, like the forum moderators, or the major bourgeoisie, like the bank owners, the pharmaceutical companies, the creditors, the mortgage companies, it does not matter. The point is they are murdering you and your family and everyone you've ever laid eyes upon. I sincerely hope that one day you wake up from this autistic dream world that this is a race issue, or that this is a gender issue, or that this is any other tribal issue, and that that's all facade created by capital owners to keep you distracted and keep you attacking the wrong target. Because yeah, you might come across a bad guy or two in your tribal warfare, but in general, it's going to deviate from any real change, because as long as someone else controls the means of production, you don't have diddly squat. You don't have dick as long as somebody else is making the rules, as long as somebody else is enforcing those rules, as long as somebody else gets to dictate your life because they own and you don't. And yes, maybe focusing on the internet and on internet forums isn't the biggest issue, but it is my issue. It is the issue that I know I can do something about. It is the issue I know you can do something about. You are not nearly enough awake to take on the banking cartels and the pharmaceutical companies. You are not nearly smart enough or courageous enough to take on such huge capital owners. We are not that kind of revolutionary. We are the minor revolutionary for a minor enemy. Because once we have a secure internet, once we have true freedom of speech on the internet, all things are possible. Because the internet was designed for education. When people will be free to exchange ideas without a moderator coming between them, when people are free to look up anything and learn anything, whether it be mechanics, engineering, art, sciences, history, whatever, when people are truly free to explore their own minds and have discourse with other people, and yes, sometimes be offensive and insulting and degrading without the constraints of someone else dictating the environment, the possibilities will be endless. So while it might be a minor issue physically, metaphysically, it is the only issue. Because once we have a free internet, freedom of the people in the real world will soon follow. Because their minds will be free, and they will be well educated, and they will be prepared for real revolution. That's all I have to say.